Ever since Andrés Manuel López Obrador assumed the presidency of Mexico, the country has faced a plan of austerity and public spending that had a significant impact on the military sphere. Nevertheless, the nation continues to be one of the most powerful in Latin America, and its goal is to maintain the commitment to fulfill the 3 defense plans created by its armed forces decades ago. These are military preparedness to repel foreign aggression, protection and combat against internal insurgency, and defense in disaster situations. The last of these mentioned plans was put into action for the first time in 1985 in response to the earthquakes that took place in Mexico City. Meanwhile, the one related to the fight within its borders is put into practice every day against the formidable drug cartels. Moreover, the country has not had to defend its territory from a foreign threat in over a century, as the last one occurred in 1914 when U.S. forces occupied the ports of Veracruz and Tampico. What the 3 objectives set by the armed forces have in common is that in all cases, readiness for battle is required. Therefore, in this new video on military aviation, we will discover how prepared Mexico is for war, taking into account investment, personnel quantity, and the most powerful weaponry in its ranks. To understand Mexico's potential, we can rely on specialized sites like Global Firepower, which in 2023 ranked the country at number 31 in a ranking that analyzed the military power of over 140 nations worldwide. Compared to the previous year, the Mexican armed forces climbed 12 positions thanks to an increase in their power and operational capacity on land, sea, and air. This was achieved thanks to an investment in defense that reached $6,456 million, 21% more than in 2022. In addition, the government plans to continue on this path of growth, which is why it prepared a budget of $8.9 billion for 2024. Resource allocation is the first step, but money can't fight, so we have to move on to the next factor: manpower. Currently, the Mexican forces have 287,200 troops who are divided into 3 branches. The first is the Army, which takes the lion's share with 200,000 men, followed by the Navy, which has 75,200 sailors. Finally, the Air Force appears, which is made up of the remaining 12,000 members of military personnel. Now, if we said that money can't fight wars, it seems fair to point out that soldiers couldn't win them without the right equipment. Thus, we arrive at the highlight of our analysis, since a large part of modern conflicts are resolved thanks to the powerful and advanced weapons that the forces of each nation have. In this case, we will begin by diving into the sea to get to know the Mexican fleet up close. The country's navy is made up of 194 ships, among which there are 5 destroyers, 4 corvettes, and 11 frigates. However, 88% of the fleet belongs to patrol vessels. So, you may wonder why are more than 3/4 of their navy made up of these ships. The reason is that this type of vessel makes it possible to meet the different objectives of the force, which includes ocean surveillance, patrolling of the exclusive economic zone, search and rescue of personnel, and deterrent presence against offending ships and aircraft. The ships have different classifiers depending on the role they carry out, such as the Vale-class ocean patrols of American origin and the Sierra or Durango classes, which are manufactured locally. There are also missile patrols such as the Hurricane class of Israeli origin or the ARM Benito Juarez frigate-type long-range patrol. This last ship was built between Mexico and the Netherlands, is 107 meters long, and displaces up to 2,800 tons. In addition, it incorporates a diesel-electric propulsion plant that allows it an autonomy of 20 days and the ability to travel at more than 50 kilometers per hour. We are talking about one of the jewels of the Mexican Navy due to its unique characteristics. To put the vessel into action, a crew of 124 trained sailors is required, as they must be able to operate and fully exploit the modern set of radars and weapons of this fearsome ship. These include a 57mm Bofors Mk3 cannon with a range of 17 kilometers, another 25mm cannon for targets at a distance of 2.5 kilometers, 6 12.7mm machine guns, 6 Raytheon Mk54 torpedoes, 8 Harpoon anti-ship missiles, 21 RIM-116 RAM and RIM-162 evolved Sea Sparrow anti-aircraft missiles. Thus, she has enough power to destroy any rival who dares to challenge her. Without a doubt, these vessels are complete and can more than meet the objectives of defending the country's coastline. In any case, the Mexican Navy seems to be in debt if we talk about projection or offensive strategies, since in its ranks it does not have ships designed for these missions, such as aircraft carriers. These types of vessels are what allow the power of a naval force to be brought to scenarios far from its borders and carry out attacks on a larger scale. Unfortunately, Mexico could not carry out those feats. The time has come to return to dry land, this time to delve into the composition of the army of the Aztec country. As we mentioned before, this is the largest force and the one in charge of fighting on a daily basis against one of the great problems in Mexico, organized crime dedicated to drug trafficking. The elements are trained to carry out urban combat deployments against the different cartels that are heavily equipped with heavy military-grade weapons. However, despite having what is necessary to face these duels, the Army has a striking absence if we think about what a battle against the forces of a foreign country could be like. Just as its Navy does not have ships such as submarines present in the ranks of most powers, the Mexican land force does not have war tanks. In any case, the lack of battle tanks seems to be compensated with a significant number of armored vehicles that can fulfill a similar function. In modern conflicts, the effectiveness and real impact of tanks has been questioned, which is why Mexico prefers to be ready with its more than 32,000 armored vehicles, among which several combat designs are distinguished. An example of them is the ERC-90 Lynx of French origin. There are about 125 in service which have been modernized in 2014 and have a 90mm cannon, to which are added two 7.62mm machine guns and grenade launcher tubes. There are also several dozen units of the American M8 Greyhound, an infantry armored vehicle equipped with a 37mm Jayad F2 cannon and a powerful M2 Browning machine gun. While these do not have the same power and protection of a tank as those that fuel the forces of other countries, they are a more than respectable threat to any enemy. However, the most numerous among the Mexican ranks is the DNC-1, the name given in the country to the French AMX VCI, and of which there are 409 units. This is an infantry variant of the French-made AMX-13 light tank. In the Mexican version, it has a 20 to 30mm Jayat Nexter cannon, a 12.7 machine gun, and a 60mm mortar. In addition, it can transport up to 10 soldiers, complementing the capabilities of the force. Thanks to the different options, it seems to be clear that the force is covered for a ground duel, so let's leave this behind and let's fly. The Mexican Air Force, also known as the FAM, has a wide range of variants to meet its objectives. The fleet is made up of 468 units, among which helicopters stand out for transport and surveillance tasks, such as the Eurocopter EC-725 Cougar and the Bell 429, which have the capacity to carry out rapid troop deployment or medical evacuation. Likewise, the force adds other rotary wing aircraft for combat, such as the Airbus H-225M Super Puma and the Bell 412, both equipped with machine guns and rocket launch systems to carry out close air support operations. Contemplating with airplanes, tactical transport is provided by the renowned C-130 Hercules of American origin, used for troops, equipment, and supplies in operations against drug trafficking. Furthermore, if the objective is to detect the enemy, surveillance and reconnaissance are carried out by units such as the Cessna 206 and the King Air 350ER, equipped with radar systems and cameras to detect illegal activities and collect intelligence. The war against drugs is present when we analyze the attack aircraft of this force. The country has worked to add a large fleet of T-6C Texan II, an American-made turboprop aircraft developed as a pilot trainer. Furthermore, in the Mexican version, it is equipped with weapons and advanced technology. This offers it the necessary flexibility to confront narco planes that seek to traffic drugs within the country's borders. However, this approach required by the fight against drug trafficking has caused the FAM's main fighter to be neglected, a powerful and necessary aircraft in case this nation must face a war. We are talking about the F-5 Tiger II, a fighter of American origin that has been in the ranks of the Air Force since the early 1980s. However, the lack of budget for the maintenance of this supersonic aircraft became a major problem and caused several units to become inoperative. Anyway, Mexico seeks to change its reality for the future, and to do so it is working on the so-called Plan 2030. This aims to incorporate new aircraft, such as the multifunctional UH-60 Black Hawk helicopters and a new fleet of more modern fighters. It remains to be seen which aircraft will be chosen, as different options are being analyzed depending on values and maintenance costs. Among the jets that appear in the pipeline to boost Mexican air power in the coming years are the Russian Su-35 and Su-34, the French Rafale, and the American F-18 Super Hornet. Certainly, any of these units would give a great leap in quality to the fleet. We are approaching the end of our video, and having reached this point, we can assure that Mexico is working hard to regain lost ground and become a serious rival for any opponent. Whether by sky, sea, or land, the Mexican forces will have to be up to the task and fight until the end. In any case, we have a question that we want to share with you. What type of weapons do you think the Mexican forces should add to achieve greater capabilities and power? Now, it's time to say goodbye. Thank you very much for joining us until the end. Stay tuned to our channel. We will meet in the next military aviation video.